All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Tyler. Welcome to Workshop Wednesday. As supplies that you'll need if you want to draw along. Pretty simple, just some paper, any kind. I'm going to be working in this sketchbook. And I also have some other thicker watercolor paper that I'm going to work on. Anything that you like to draw with, really. I like to draw with permanent markers and Sharpies, maybe some pencil crayons or pencil. And if you want to, you can use some tape and a ruler, or if you don't have a ruler, any kind of straight edge will do. It could be, the edge of a book, really anything. Gonna put my extra things off to the side here. So for today's stream, today's workshop, we are going to be doing some mindfulness drawing. So we're going to look at some drawing techniques and some shading techniques and things like that. Some things that you can do sort of sketchbook doodling or just kind of anytime, just really sort of simple in the moment mindfulness stuff. So in a lot of my sketchbooks and a lot of my sketchbook practice, before I begin, I kind of warm up just by kind of doodling a lot of this stuff, just kind of brainless, this kind of thing. And I'm going to show you a few things that I do for this. And then perhaps what we could do to take that a little bit of a step further and make it into a bit of a picture. All right, so I'm going to put this over here. All right, so I'm going to begin just on a blank sheet here. So to get started, I'm going to use the pencil and the markers here to get kind of warmed up. What I like to do is just kind of draw some squiggly sort of lines like this, or some shapes like that. Just kind of some very quite large, something that I can really fill up the page with. I've only done, some very, very simple things, but this is a good place to kind of start. Now, in the shapes, what I'm going to do is a different one of these little shading techniques. So maybe in this one up here, I will do these kind of scales. And I'm just doing kind of a very simple motion, repeating it over and over. So I'm getting some nice patterns and nice repetition here. And if you want to take it a little step further, you can fill in some of these. You can draw a nice border around your shape. So it's like drawing out a shape and then filling it with these little doodles. And you can get gradually larger as you go. Try and make it as gradual as you can if you want to. Okay, this is just a little warm up. For those of you who are watching and joining us, if you want to draw along, you're more than welcome to. If you just want to sort of sit and watch, that's fine too. This is just meant to be kind of a relaxing little afternoon where we play around with some creative ideas. Okay, so I'll maybe fill that up. And then maybe in this one over here, I will do some line stuff here. So I'll draw start here and I'll draw down and maybe do kind of a squiggly line like that. And I'm going to keep drawing on either side, just following that line as I'm going. It's not going to be perfect every time, that's fine. What I'm really trying to do is get out of my head and really get onto the paper and not really think about what I'm drawing. You can do some variations. You can see I'm leaving a little bit more space in between those two. Or you can get your lines nice and close together. Try and get them as close together as possible without having them touch. And you can see as I'm getting over gradually, this form or this line, it starts to change and evolve to change shape, which is pretty neat. If I want to, maybe now I can sort of start spreading, maybe up here, instead of keeping it tight on the way down, maybe I'll spread it out a little bit more, just gradually. And again, at the peak, spread it out a bit more. Spread it out a bit more. And I'm going to keep going as if, as if it goes right there, but I'm not going to draw that part, just so it stays in the thing. Just like that. There we go. So you can do that for a couple different shapes or whatever. Now for this one, I'm going to turn this into a more like kind of an organic leafy vine. So from this line, I'm going to now draw in some large leaf shapes. Went right over that. That's fine. Not thinking too much, not going for perfection necessarily, just kind of going for, I want the general outline here. Okay, so now that I've got that, what I'm going to do is fill in all of my leaves with this sort of line work here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at this point. I'm going to do one leaf at a time. I'm going to start here, draw a line kind of through the middle, and then starting at this point, heading back. This is where I want to keep I want to try and get my lines again as close together as possible without touching. And each time I go back into that point, and my lines are getting nice and close together, so I get this nice dark concentrated area up here. Okay, once I've got that, I'm going to now switch on to the next one. I could just do a few just like that, or I could try and pack a few more in there. Up to you. And then let's draw the stem a little bit. And when I get to this leaf here, what I'm going to do is sort of carry on. So I have a nice curvy line going like this. And that way you have a nice, strong, thick stem starting to form. If you want your leaf forms to be a little bit wider, you can always add some to the edge like this. can really, you could do this as long or as little as you want. I could do this all day. Some nice relaxing, maybe I'll get a nice sort of curved line going in there. So this is often what I'll do if I'm warming up to work on another drawing, or if I just feel like being creative and I feel like drawing, but I'm just not sure what I really want to draw. I'll just kind of pick some of these line drawing styles. And this one here, I did this one on watercolor paper, so I could add paint to it later if I wanted to. All right, I'm going to move this up here now that I'm sufficiently warmed up. Actually, no, I'm going to work on this sheet. So what I've done here with the tape is I've made a rectangle, and when you do that, you can, after you've done your drawing, you can peel the rectangle off, and then that way you have a nice kind of square for your drawing. So I've started, let's flip this. By sketching out a quick little pencil thing here. I'm going to do some kind of flower. This one's going to go behind. All right. So this stem, this is going to be my main line. I'm going to work with a smaller, more fine tip pen, and off we go. So I'm going to start by doing the outline here. You can do a little jags in there if you want to. Now each time I'm going to start at the bottom of the stem. I'm going to retrace that line, even though I already have it. That gives you a nice long, sweeping, beautiful line. You can make them a little bit closer. You can start up and work your way down, however you like. But the trick here is that I'm starting all the way across, different points across the top here, but I'm bringing them down to this exact spot as opposed to drawing, across and ending there. Each time if I start here, I always bring it back to this point. If I start here, same thing, or over here, right there. I think my stem is probably thick enough now, so now I'm just going to do my starting point from here, just to save a little bit of ink and some time. Maybe I'll leave this section open. Maybe here I'll do a little bump in the leaf, and I'll sort of follow that little ripple. And you can see what's happening. I'm gathering up all my lines in this little area. That makes a nice, strong, kind of thin, like a darker area. So the more your lines are kind of grouped together, the darker that area will be. So it's a neat way of shading without using the side of your pencil or something like that. It's a nice way to shade just with using straight lines. And then maybe I'll, work on this one back here. right, so now I'm going to move on to this, this bigger sheet. There's lots of stuff that you can do with these, almost endless ways that you can do that. So for these ones, this is a very, very simple, just drawing that sort of squiggle line like I did at the very beginning, just a couple of them, nice swooping lines down like that. All right, and let's start on this one here. I'm going to start from the stem, and each time I'm going to do a nice little loop like that, and then loop it right back into that main stem. Do some on this side. I'll move up the stem a little bit. So now I've got some nice vines. And if I want to have this branching off, I'll just kind of do a few more coming out like this. You could do them really, really tiny. You could do them really, really large. Or a little bit of everything, right? The main thing is you're keeping that sort of first line there. That sort of grounds everything. Right. So now I'm going to reference these here. The way I did this one is I did the leaf patterns and forms. I started in the middle here, started with one leaf, kind of like this. Then I did another one going the other way. I did another one kind of coming out like that. And then I'll do these lines. And once I've got one of these done, then I'm going to draw another one of these shapes, kind of branching off from there. And with this, you can go in any direction that you want. And you can mix it up too. So maybe I'll add in some of these coming out of here as well. And now the challenge is I've got this kind of weird space. So let's see how I can kind of work with that. Okay. One last thing here for us. This one, let's do it the tall way. It's going to be similar to this one here. So now we're going a little more landscape. So the way that I started that find my pencil here. I may have to use the thicker marker for this one because I'm working nice and large. So I began start with kind of a border. I did a nice sloping kind of horizon line. This one's going to be a little more gentler than this one. This one's kind of like pointier peaks. And then from here, I just kind of did a squiggly line kind of like that. Now each time I come down this line, each time I hit like a corner like that, I'm going to kind of dip down. On this side, I'm going to dip down again. And then maybe up here I'll do something like that. Okay, so now I've got the main thing, the main outlines here. I can outline those with a heavy marker if I want to sort of start it out. And what I really want to do here is I want to distinguish one side from the other. So on this one, I'm going to do lines going this way with the slope, nice and tight together. Okay, and maybe the same for this one. And then to make a nice distinction from this side to the other is I'm going to have on this side of my loop, my lines are going to be going this direction, following these lines. But I'm going to change them up a little bit. Maybe I'll press much lighter. I'll spread my lines out a little bit further, or I can use the thinner marker. I could do dotted lines. Whatever it is, it's just different from this side. So that makes this side look like sort of a dark shadow, and there's like a light or like sun, maybe a light source kind of shining on this side. And you can do this as small and delicately or as large and bold as you want. And there you go. So that is our workshop for today. We got some mindfulness drawing, just some really nice, relaxing stuff going on. Thank you very much for joining us. And we're going to be on every Wednesday for the next 10 weeks or so. Please feel free to join us again.